Just about 8 o'clock. Seems like a few more attendees are getting into the room, but Susan, you can probably start your introduction when you're ready.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Lint. Good evening, everybody. My name is Susan Bashinsky, and I have the good fortune of being the facilitator for tonight's panel presentation. I work as a special advisor to the board of directors of the CHARGE Syndrome Foundation and have been a part of the group that has been able to plan this series of 4 webinars. Tonight is number 4 of 4. And the guys will tell you we saved the best to last. And I think they might be right about that. We had these 4 webinars leading up to Charge Online, our symposium that will happen next month. On behalf of the CHARGE Syndrome Foundation, I want to sincerely thank you for attending tonight and to welcome you. Everybody's crazy busy. We know you have time. You have many other things to choose to do on a Wednesday evening, and we are grateful that you have chosen to give an hour of your time to listen to Jack and Alex and Caleb's stories about having a sibling who experiences charge. I also want to thank these 3 gentlemen for consenting to be our presenters this evening. I think you're going to find what they have to say really positive and inspiring and very honest. So here's how we're going to proceed. As we're getting started, if you would please, in the chat box, at least put the state in which you live. If you're comfortable adding your name, would love to have your name so we know who actually attended, but that isn't required, that's an option. And if you have a burning question right now for a sibling, go ahead and type that in there. Megan Cody, who is on the CHARGE Board of Directors, will be monitoring the chat tonight, and we'll get to your questions at the conclusion. If you don't have questions right now, but questions come to mind as the guys are talking, please record them in the chat box and we will get to them at the end. And in this order, Jack, Alex, and Caleb will individually share their stories about being a brother to a sibling who has CHARGE syndrome. After that, we'll use the remainder of our time to have an open conversation and discussion and hopefully get your questions answered. So with that, I'm going to sign off and introduce to you our first presenter, Mr. Jack Dagley. Jack?
Hi. So here, so I'm Jack Dagley. So my family is my sister Grace, me, my mom, my dad, and our dog Maggie. So at the top is me and my sister. At the bottom, that's everybody. Next slide, please. So these are some pictures of us. So that first one on the left is from a few years ago when we were at a restaurant and I was pretending I had horns with the crayons and Grace did not really care. The middle one on the bottom is of when I was a really little baby. My sister, that's Grace giving me a kiss when I was a little baby. She actually used to throw toys in my crib to keep me entertained when I was a baby since I couldn't get out and get any. That one on the top middle is my dad fell asleep on the couch one time and we all decided to sit on him for some reason. And that last one over on the right is of my sister grabbing my dad's nose with her foot and me like jumping on my dad. Yeah. Next slide, please. So some activities, people, and things have helped me better understand Grace. So one thing that's really helped are CHARGE conferences because there's just so many people there that you can talk to and just, they can really help you with this kind of stuff. And there's just so much stuff there to do with your sibling that it just makes it really easy to understand how they feel about certain things. The next thing is Perkins School for the Blind. My sister goes to Perkins along with many other people who have charge. And so the teachers there, especially the teachers there, are really helpful because they are really good at showing me why my sister Grace needs something or would want something or acts in a certain way. And so, yeah, I just get to better understand why she does certain things. Another thing that's really great is other siblings. When I get to talk with other siblings, that really helps me know that I'm not the only one that has to deal with having a sibling, because having a sibling can be very difficult sometimes. So it's not nice to hear that other people have to go through it. It's just nice to know that I'm not the only one that has to go through it. And the last thing is SIB shops. So at charge conferences, there are SIB shops, which are these things where people or different siblings of people of charge in your age group get together and do activities and just talk and hang out for a while. And just it's really great for meeting other siblings. Next slide. And recreational activities, because whenever we do anything, we can't do it normally. Like in this picture, we went for a family bike ride and we had to get a special bike for my sister because she can't ride a bike on her own because she doesn't have any balance. So she has to sit in that seat while somebody pushes behind her. Next slide, please. So things that seem tough for me as a brother of somebody with charge. So something that can be tough is going places as a family, because when we go someplace as a family, sometimes Grace might not be able to do certain things there. Like sometimes at restaurants, it's difficult for her to be able to just stay calm and be able to sometimes she can have a little bit of a tantrum at restaurants because she can get big stomach aches. So sometimes that can be kind of rough when she has one of those. And the next thing is being able to find something we can all do. Because like I said before, we can't do anything normally. And there's just some stuff that we can't do as an entire family. So we have to do a lot of planning to be able to find something fun that we can all do as a family, so nobody gets left out of anything. But another thing is, my sister is older than me. She is 15 and she's 15 and a half. And so she is older than me. So I've never not been a sibling of somebody who has charge. So I don't really know what some of the things that could be harder are. So yeah, she's always been my sister. Yeah, I've never not been a sibling. Next slide, please. So some ways in which you can help support your parents with your sibling. So something you can do is entertain your sibling. Like when your parents need to do something, say my parents both have to work on something really important and they need me to take care of my sister, I need to keep her entertained so she doesn't get into anything. And so I need to keep an eye on her when needed, because she can very quickly get into things. So one way to help is to just always be kind of keeping an eye over them so nothing bad happens. Yeah, helping her get things that she needs, because sometimes she can't always get something, she can't always get herself a bottle of water or a snack. So whenever she needs one, sometimes I need to help her get something. Yeah, and ways in which that you can talk about or involve your sibling with friends. So something you should definitely do before you start involving your sibling with your friends is, since they probably won't know too much about charge, you should probably try to explain why, like certain things that your sibling might need help with, or why she can't do certain things. Yeah. Next, please. So my sister cannot speak, and so she speaks some sign language. So I need to help my friends understand what she's saying, and so that they can just understand what's happening with her right now. But sometimes it can be hard to involve my sister with friends because depending on the situation, I might not always be able to involve her with everything that my friends do, because there's just some stuff that might be too difficult for her to do with my friends doing it too, because they move at a much different pace than my sister. Next, please. So tips that I would offer other siblings of somebody with charge. You always want to be patient with your sibling, because even if, like, say you're doing a sport like soccer or something, but your sibling also wants to do it, but it might be like, since my sister doesn't have balance, she can't like really run or walk too fast. So it takes her a while to kind of play soccer with me. But you really just need to be patient, because if you keep being patient with them, they will be able to do more stuff with you. And this is probably the most important thing. You always want to try to see what's happening from their point of view. Like, say they're upset about something, but you don't know why. Try to think about what's been happening with them, or what's happening with them, and then maybe you can help things out. And like, if they're like scared to do something, but you don't know why, just kind of like trace back and think about what maybe they might have been thinking at that time. So you always want to try to include them in everything, because a lot of people underestimate people who have special needs, but they can do almost anything that somebody who doesn't have special needs can do. They need to work a lot harder to do it though, so they will need more help. So yeah, so you always want to try to include them with everything. Next, please. So this is another slide of some pictures. So the big one on the left is when my sister and I went to a park. It has this like spinning thing on it. And so yeah, my sister sat down while I was spinning it for her. And that top middle one is of her playing soccer, like I mentioned before. And the bottom middle one is of us just eating ice cream after going to Dairy Queen. The bottom right one is of her just playing with her new sequin shirt, because she really likes textures and stuff. So yeah, that's just, yeah. And that final top right one is of us teaming up on a snowball fight against her parents, I think. Yeah.
That sounds like too much fun, Jack. This is great. Thank you for all of your words of wisdom and your honesty. And you've told every single person here tonight, including me, you've taught me something new about being a sibling with charge. So you did a great job. I thank you so much. And we'll move on now to our second presenter. So I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Alex Harvey.
All right, you guys. Thanks for coming. And so I'm Alex, and this is the Harvey family. So in this picture on the left is me. I'm Alex. And then next is my dad, Ron. And then next to him is my brother, Adam, who has charge. And then in the very back is my mom, Ann. So Adam is 18 and I'm 16. So Adam is older than I am. And he just graduated from high school. And that was a super big accomplishment for us as like a whole family, just because, you know, it's a big accomplishment for anybody to graduate from high school. So that was really good for us. And then since he is pretty high functioning, he's moving on to a program called Canyons Transitions for 4 years. And that will help him learn other life skills just so then he can live his own life. Next slide. So the topic that was presented to me is, what are some things that are tougher for me as a brother of a person with charge? And I don't know, because I don't know any other life than the one that I live with Adam. So there are some moments that are maybe a little bit frustrating or irritating. Like, so for example, last week we were out to dinner with my family, and Adam had a total fall apart in the restaurant. And, you know, it was a little bit like embarrassing and slightly frustrating, just because, you know, you're like, well, why are you doing this here? But yeah, and he had to like go outside to calm down, and that was a little bit frustrating. Some other things that are maybe a little frustrating are, he won't do what he's told. Like, if we need to, or if we're in a hurry, sometimes he just doesn't want to do it, and so he doesn't really follow directions. And like, our interaction is different because he has charge. Like, normally, him being the older sibling, he would, you know, I would probably follow him around and kind of follow him, but it's the exact opposite. He's following me around and kind of following what I do. And then some of our activities and outings are modified to accommodate Adam's needs. So like, although Adam is pretty high functioning and and he can kind of, you know, get around, we still have to make sure that, you know, that there is some spots for him to take a rest or do this, that, and the other. Next slide. Some ways that I help my parents support Adam are, like, you know, you have to take care of him. The number one thing is just to keep him safe. But some of the other things are just help him get his own food, and make sure he has all of his essentials that he needs, like his cane, water, medications, that sort of thing. And then I really like to try and keep him active. So he has a little bike with training wheels, and we go down to the park and just ride that around. So it's really nice to be able to get outside and spend time with each other. And then, like, as a family, we love to go hiking, and then like go swimming or just go for a walk. We love to be outdoors. So that's something that we enjoy to do as a family. Next slide. So some activities that have definitely helped me to be able to better understand Adam is going to the conference and spending time with other kids with charge and siblings and parents and like presenters. You learn so much. You learn just so much from going to the conferences and spending that time with other people who kind of experience the same things that you do. And then another thing is the USDB. So that's the Utah School for the Deaf and the Blind. And they do a ton of events and like classes, specifically like for people who are deaf and blind, which Adam is. And then another thing is the Angel Hands Baseball, and there's a picture in the bottom right corner. So that's a special needs like baseball, and they have a field that they can come and play on. And there's all sorts of kids there. I don't believe any other ones have charge, but they all have varying like special needs. And then the National Ability Center, and that's a picture on the left. So they have like outdoor activities with people for special needs. So that's a picture of Adam climbing, and we go there as a family and do all sorts of like activities. Like there's rock climbing and a ropes course and horseback riding, biking, all sorts of other stuff. Next slide. Some tips to another sibling of a person with charge is 100% go to the conference, meet other siblings and people. You're going to see a lot of people who understand the same like things that you have to go through on a daily basis. Like the meltdowns and that sort of thing, it seems like your brother or sibling is the only person who ever does that. But it really isn't. Like, you talk to other siblings and they go through the exact same thing, and it's like super weird to see people who like have the same things. And then like at the conference, just get involved, go to Sib Shop, as Jack said. You get to meet other siblings who are your age, and you can, you do events and just kind of build great friendships, and then volunteer, and then go to sessions like the one that we're in now. And like, also don't be afraid of your sibling with charge. Like, don't be embarrassed of them, and just try and live your life as like normally as you can without like getting too embarrassed about things. And then the picture on the right is at the last conference in Texas. Next slide. So some ways that I involve Adam with my friends is, I try to, kind of introduce them. And, although Adam and I have totally different interests, we kind of, can find some things, although like he wouldn't necessarily come with my friends to hang out, or I wouldn't go with his friends to hang out. So it really isn't a totally normal relationship. And then that picture is of us down in Capitol Reef while we were camping over spring break. Next slide. So some things that make me really happy about Adam are that he is totally hilarious, and he is always happy and has a joke ready. And then I actually asked Adam what I thought makes him happy, or just what I love about him. And he says that he's with me all the time. He loves being my brother. He's one of my favorite people. He's very nice. I love him, and he's a nice brother. And I totally agree with that. Like, Adam is probably one of my most favorite people. He's so nice, and he always has a smile. Like, in that picture really just represents his attitude. He is always happy, always having fun. And like some other like things is you get special handicap services. So like state parks, national parks, if you go to Disneyland or Disney World, like there's special treatment that you normally wouldn't get, which is kind of nice, knowing like that you have to go through a ton of things every day with Adam. Next slide. So some of the super fun things that we do as a family are like, we love to go out to dinner, we love to go on vacations, we love to go camping. Like we went camping to, I think, 4 different places over spring break, and that picture is us at a little place in southern Utah called Kodachrome Basin. And then like we love to go out to movies, we love to go hiking, biking, boating, we love to go to concerts, and most of all of us, we love to spend time at Disneyland. Like that is our, if we could live in Disneyland, that would be our dream. Next slide. So then these are just some of the pictures of some of the activities that we do. So the one at the top is us when we were younger at Delicate Arch in Arches National Park. And then the one just to the right of that at the top is us on a hike called Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. And then the top right picture is us at the National Ability Center on the ropes course. And then the bottom left is us at the Hard Rock Cafe in Chicago at the conference a few years ago. And then the picture to the right is us on another hike. I believe that's on Angel's Landing as well. And then that one to the right is Adam in Angel's Landing. And that's like a big windy section that you have to climb up. And then in the bottom right is us at Mexico on Cozumel when we went a few years back. And thank you.
Alex, that was great. You did a wonderful job. I think it's pretty cool as an observer to listen and hear that some of your observations really matched some of the things Jack said. You even mentioned that one time, but you brought up some different viewpoints and different perspectives as well that give us a little insight into your relationship with your brother, and it's really great. And thank you for the wonderful job. We appreciate it. So we'll move on now to our third presenter, and I would like to introduce you to Mr. Caleb Teed.
Am I on?
I don't see you.
Can you see me now?
I can see you now. Take it
Hello,
away.
everybody. Hello, Grandpa. So today, I'm Caleb Teed. I'm from Iowa, and I'll be giving a presentation about what it's like to be a sibling of charge. So first, I'd like to introduce you to my family. So the kid in the blue jacket, the taller boy, that's me. I'm Caleb. The guy with the glasses in the back, that's my dad. The woman standing next to him, that's my mom. Then the girl in sort of the yellow dress and the fox fur jacket, that's my sister Zoe. She's our excitement. The little boy in the blue coat, like button-up shirt, that's Jacob. He's the mischievous one. And then the kid standing on the box, the little girl, that's Claire. She is definitely the apple of everyone's eye. And then all the way to the left, that is my sister with charge. That is Hannah. She is our sunshine. Anyways, can we please go to the next slide? So first thing I would like to talk to is communication. So in any relationship, communication is important, but there are different barriers when you're communicating with someone with charge. So some of the things that I do with communicating with my sisters, eye contact. Eye contact is very important. You have to look her into her eye for her to be able to understand you. Next thing is talking to her good ear is extremely important. For example, a few days ago, we were in the car and I wanted to tell Hannah that I want to go on a bike ride with her. And I was talking in her left ear. And if you want to know anything, her left ear is deaf. And I was whispering to her, hey, let's go on a bike ride tomorrow. I was saying a few other things and she just wasn't responding. She wasn't responding to me. I was really confused. So I had to go louder. Hannah, which ear can you hear in? And she points to her right ear, which is the opposite one of the one I was talking in. And so I had to repeat everything all over again in her right ear. And another thing is you can't just yell for her. Since she's deaf in her left ear, everything that she's hearing is coming from her right ear. So she cannot localize me. She doesn't know where something is coming from, if it's coming from, if someone's yelling for her, if they're coming from in front of her, if they're behind her, if they're above her, if they're below her, she just can't localize. So if she's across the street, you have to go get her. Anyways, let's go to the next slide. So being a sibling, having a sibling in charge brings upon certain frustrations that are different than having a sibling that doesn't have charge. So these are my big three things that really frustrate me. First of all, is when she touches my food. So I just don't like people to touch my food, and she does it a lot. We'll be at the dinner table, she'll touch, let's say we're having fried chicken, she'll pick it up, look at it, and she'll go through each piece. But one thing you have to do is you have to understand what they're doing. So Hannah's picking up the food, so she bring it closer to her eyes so she can see what it is. And I know it bothers me, but we sort of have to let her do that because it's just the way she has to bring it closer to her eyes. So something Alex talked about was looking from their perspective. So it may bother me, but if we look at her perspective, it's necessary for her to be able to see things. Another thing that bothers me are socially inappropriate questions. So Hannah, she asks a lot of questions. She'll just go question over question over question. That's how she has a conversation. But sometimes she has questions that can hurt people's feelings or can bring sad feelings to people. So for example, some questions she's asked people is, why are you divorced? Why does your daughter no longer live with you? Why do you not have any kids? Stuff like that. And then another thing that bothers me is sometimes I feel like that having sibling charge takes time away from me, my parents. It takes some of their time. So for example, she had to have her G-tube removed on my 7th birthday, and that was a struggle for me. But now that I'm older, I realize that was important, and my parents still love me. They still give me just as much attention as she gives my sister Hannah. And that's just one thing that everyone in the audience needs to remember. Anyways, next slide, please. And then here are some other smaller frustrations. When she can't hear me, so I'll say, Hannah, it's time for dinner. And she'll go, what? It's time for dinner, Hannah. What? Anyways, I'll keep repeating those until I meet the certain requirements to be able to communicate with her correctly. So that's looking in her eye, making sure I'm talking in her right ear, the ear she can hear in, and making sure I'm close to her. Another thing is she always thinks people are talking about her. So a few days ago, I was at my grandparents' house, and my younger siblings, Jacob and Claire, were watching a show called The Gabby and Alex Show. So it's one of those toy review shows. They're just kind of, they're blah. Anyway, so I said, this show is terrible. And Hannah couldn't hear me correctly. And she goes, you think I'm terrible? And then she just starts crying and crying and crying. So that's another thing that bothers me. And then another thing is when she gossips. So me and my sister Zoe, we're trying to get the house clean, and we're kind of yelling at her, and Zoe goes away. And then Hannah comes up and she goes, did you notice that Zoe had no friends at the picnic? And then Zoe's walking by right at that moment and starts crying. And, and I go, Hannah, that was a really mean thing to say. And she thought I told her that she was mean, and she just went crying too. So, that wasn't the best day. And then another thing is, this isn't a bad thing, but she tattles a lot. She's a rule follower. That's not a bad thing at all. But when you're outside and you and your sister are trying to get in some popsicles in the freezer out in the garage, and Hannah's around, things don't always go to plan. And since she's a rule follower, she'll go and tell mom. Let's go to the next slide. Now, definitely, there's a lot more positives than there are negative. There's so many good things about Hannah. One thing is I can always get a hug from her when I need one. So I like hugs a lot. And sometimes my mom will be busy. She won't give me a hug. Zoe, my other siblings, they don't like giving me hugs. Don't know why. And so, but Hannah, she will always give me a hug, and that makes me happy. That's one thing that she really brings light to my day, when she can give me a hug. Another thing is she is the easiest one when I'm babysitting. So I'm the oldest one, so I have to babysit the kids when my parents go out. And Hannah, she is so good. She follows the rules perfectly that you don't even notice her. She puts herself to bed, she brushes, she does everything perfectly. While the other kids, everything's a fight. And then another thing is, like I said earlier, I don't fight with her. I don't fight with her at all, which I fight with all my other siblings, but me and Hannah, she's just not a person that you can really fight with. She's just so nice and kind. And then the last thing is her happiness is contagious. So she is pretty much always smiling, and that just makes you happy. She is, when anything sad happens or anything bad, she's just a light. She's a bright, shining light. And I feel like just she is a light in the darkness. And she is just such a happy, positive, fun person to be around, and that makes me, that really helps me. Let's go to the next thing. And then having a sibling with charge has taught me some very important lessons. So, for example, it has helped me become more aware of people around me with disabilities. So, for example, some people in this world don't see a person with a disability as a full person. They don't see them as, they see them as half a person or even less than that. Or having a sibling with charge has really taught me that anyone, no matter what disabilities they have, they're always a full person. They're always the exact, their worth, that they have the same worth as anyone else with or without disabilities. And I also feel like it's taught me to treat people with disabilities differently. So like I said, I treat them like a regular person. I treat them like I would talk to a friend or another adult. Well, I'm not adult, but adult. And that's another thing. And then it has shaped my life for the better. So it has really helped me grow as a person and has taught me some very important things. So I guess that's it. And we'll move on to the questions.
Great job, Caleb. Thank you. Again, I think the other participants are like I am. You echoed some of the things that Alex and Jack said, some that one but not the other said, and yet you brought a unique perspective as well. You had some different ways of looking at siblings with charge and positive comments. So guys, if you would, why don't you all three turn on your cameras? And Mrs. Cody, if you want to turn on your camera, we'll ask you to run our question and answer session. And
Yeah.
I'll bet you've got a lot of comments in the chat box. I hope you do.
Yeah, so welcome everybody. Thanks for joining tonight. I'm smiling so big because I can't take how great they were. The stories were awesome. Your insights were very powerful, boys. And thank you so much for being so transparent and the lessons that your siblings have taught you. It's been wonderful. So in the chat pod so far, we've gotten a ton of praise. The one question that came in was for Alex from Jack, and I think he was being sort of funny when he asked if you had to, or it was Caleb, I think, who asked if you had to catch your own food, Alex, because your brother was holding up a picture, or in the picture had a crab. They wanted to know if you have grocery stores in Utah.
So that picture was from a trip to Oregon, probably 4 years ago. Adam would remember for sure. But yeah, we were staying on the beach, on Cannon Beach, and that was right next to Haystack Rock. But yeah, we do have grocery stores here.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if it was developed enough. So, no, it's far out west.
And there's also a comment, this is Megan speaking again, there's a comment saying that people think that we need to have another sibling perspective 2 webinar. Suzanne Chen said, she says she needs more of these fabulous siblings. So there's just gobs and gobs of praise for you guys. But if anyone that's attending tonight has a question, you can feel free to put it in the chat pod, and then we'll make sure that the guys can respond to it. But while we're waiting, I have a question for you guys. So I can say that being a sibling sometimes is fun and sometimes is not so fun, right? We can all feel that if we have siblings. But at the end of the day, I can sense all of your gratitude for the lessons that your sibling has taught you. So I'm curious to know, in your being out and about with your siblings, do you find yourselves having to spend time answering questions when people come up to you and want to know more about what's going on with your sibling? Has anybody had an experience with that?
So I have, so especially like when we're hiking on the trail and people see Adam with a cane, they're like, this kid with special needs is is just walking along this difficult trail. And a lot of people like just stare and look. Like a lot of people just say, "Good job." And Adam just started saying back, "You're doing a good job too." Just because it's really funny to like just to see the reaction that like this kid with special needs is just munching along on this trail. And then Adam just said that Caleb, that picture was from 2018.
Okay.
There you go. How about you, Caleb? Have you had an experience with that?
Well, I feel like there have been a few instances. For example, when I was younger, we were at the park with my sister Hannah, and a group of girls asked why her eyes were like wobbling. And my mom was able to answer that. I forgot what it was called, but there's only been a few instances since then.
Great. And Jack, do you have anything to add?
Well, whenever I'm like going anywhere with my sister, my parents are always there, so they're usually ones answering questions. But sometimes when we do like family get-together things, like with like my cousins and stuff, my like little cousins will like ask why. Like there was this one time where we were going on a mountain hike a while ago, up Blue Hills, if you know where that is. And so my sister had to be in a wheelchair because she can't hike up the normal path, so she had to go up like a road path. And so some of my younger cousins were asking why she had to do that, so I had to kind of explain to them that she can't walk like for long distances of time.
Well, that's great advocacy. So in the chat pod, there's another question which says, who do you think was your biggest influence on learning how to be with your sibling and learn about your sibling? So why don't we let Alex start again, and then we'll move to Caleb and then to Jack.
So I think like it probably started like when I was young. Like I never like knew any other kind of life without Adam, so I was just kind of forced to like figure out what's going on with him. But then like I think it was the first conference in Arizona. I can't remember what year it was, but quite a while ago, and that was my first one. And I saw like other kids just like Adam who, were walking with canes, or this, that, and the other, or were blind and deaf, and like had kind of the same behaviors as Adam. And it was really interesting to be able to see, like, I think Jack said it, that like they ask a lot of questions. Like Adam, every time he meets someone, he asks them what their favorite radio station is. And I know that there's some other kids with charge who do the exact same thing. So that really opens your eyes to, like some of the other things that you kind of have in common with them.
Yeah, that's great. So how about you, Caleb?
Can you repeat the question one more time? I didn't get all of it.
You bet. The question was, who do you think was your biggest influence on learning how to be with your sibling and learn about your sibling?
Well, I think the biggest influence would be my sibling herself. I mean, just from experience. So she's the second born. So I only had 2 years without being a sibling of her. And if it was a person other than my sister Hannah, it'd have to be my mom. But I'd say it's mostly just from experiencing, learning how to communicate with Hannah myself, stuff like that, and just firsthand experiences with my sibling.
Yeah, that's great. And how about you, Jack?
Well, so since my sister is older than me, so I've known her my entire life, and my parents have helped a lot with me, like doing stuff with her and doing things the ways that she can do them too. But then when I went to Grace's school, Perkins, for the first time, the teachers there really helped me understand Grace, because they just know how she thinks because they're professionals. So they help me with understanding how she thinks and how to help her. And yeah.
Great.
That's great. So there's another question from Sarah that asks, how do you balance treating your sibling just like any other with being sensitive to their special needs? So do we want to keep the same order and have you go first, Alex?
Yeah, that works. So what was the question?
The question was, how do you balance treating your sibling just like any other person, but also being sensitive to the fact that they have special needs?
Really, I look at Adam as someone who is just normal per se, like who wouldn't like have special needs. I think of him as a person, not a person with charge. I just think of him as my brother. So like, you know, we have to, you know, change things around a little bit to make sure that it's Kane friendly, or, you know, I guess we would call it Adam friendly. But yeah, I really just like to be able to, you know, have Adam, you know, just be my brother. Simple as that. And since he is pretty high functioning, it's pretty easy for us to just kind of, you know, just wing it sometimes. But yeah, for sure, I'll just pass it to Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb?
Well, I feel like there's not much. So like Alex's brother, my sister's pretty high functioning too. So besides communication, making sure she hears you and stuff like that, and make sure she has stuff like a hand to hold because she doesn't have a sense of balance, it's fairly easy to treat her like any other sibling. So yeah, also like I said in my presentation, is I also see her. I think that's the most important, is seeing her as just not a person with disabilities, just a regular person.
That's great.
And got a theme going here, Mrs. Cody.
We do. And how about you, Mr. Jack?
So what you do want to, most of the time, you should treat them like not like they don't have a disability, but just treat them how you would treat most people. Like just talk to them. Unless they're deaf, then like if you know sign language, then sign to them. And so you just really want to be able to communicate and do stuff with them. But obviously you can't do everything normally. So yeah, since my sister doesn't have balance, like I said before, I can't just like expect her to like run really fast while we're playing a sport together. So I do have to kind of walk through things with her. So instead of just assuming that she's going to be able to run through everything.
You're a patient man, Jack Dagley, that I can say. So someone in the chat pod asked the question, Jack, who's a better wrestler, you or Grace?
My sister, she's really active, and she likes to just kind of start wrestling with me sometimes. So every once in a while we kind of like have a little like wrestling type match. She usually wins though.
Well played. I think she's determined, right?
Yes, and she sharpens her nails.
There's another piece of truth. Okay, there's another question that says, how do you handle school bullying when it comes to your sibling with charge? And you may say you've not had an experience with that, which is great too. But Alex, why don't you go first? Have you had any issues with bullying?
So Adam and I go to different schools. I go to a private school and Adam goes to a public school where they have a special needs program. So as far as I know, there hasn't been any sort of like bullying situation, and he has an intervener that has been with him for the past like year or so, who kind of like helps him around and is just with him all the time. So then he can, you know, do some sort of like extracurricular classes and that sort of thing. But I haven't had an experience with that.
How about you, Caleb?
Well, one thing, so I haven't had experience like that. there's only been 1 year in elementary school where we really went to the same school. And then she switched schools because the deaf program switched to a different school in the public school system. But ever since she's left, a lot of people actually miss her. So all the staff, they always ask, is she ever coming back? How is Hannah doing? Kids from the same grade will ask that. I could be so we're in a medium-sized town. So I could be walking on the streets, happened to me a few times, and someone will come up to me, you're Hannah's sibling, right? And I'll go, yes. And they'll go, how's Hannah doing? So like I said in my presentation, Hannah's happiness is contagious, and almost everyone she meets actually everyone that has met her loves her. So I've never had experience with that.
That's awesome. So there's a question in the chat and another one that's from Suzanne Chen that says, how do you feel, or do you ever think about your sibling when they get older? How do you cope when your sibling has gone through a surgery or challenges? So Alex, do you want to go first? Do you ever think about your sibling when they get older? And how do you cope when your sibling goes through challenges or surgeries?
Yeah, so I do think about like Adam when he gets older. He's 18 now, and it seems like time just flies by. But you know, we've started to try and get him into like the Canyon Transition Program where he'll learn the life skills to hopefully eventually be able to like function on his own. And then like coping with like surgery or challenges, definitely I like to spend as much time as I possibly can with him, even if it's like like after surgery or whatever. I just like to be in his company whether he likes it or not. Yeah,
that's great. How about you, Caleb?
There we go. Okay. So, well, I do worry about my sibling a lot. So for example, about last year in January, she had a seizure, and she was in the hospital. They couldn't figure out what it was for, it was about a day. I couldn't sleep at all. I got zero sleep. So by the way, I think actually getting some sleep is a good coping method. But I do also think about what will it be like for Hannah when she's older. And I hope that she'll be able to have a good life where she's able to do certain things on her own, where she doesn't have to have someone constantly looking over her.
Yeah. How about you, Jack?
So for my sister, about pretty much every year, sadly around Christmas time, she almost always ends up in the hospital because she gets sick from like strep throat or the flu. So her windpipe is like really small, so she has to go to the hospital whenever she gets sick like that. And unlike like somebody who like me, who I could just stay home for a few days and get better. But but thankfully that didn't happen this year because of wearing masks and stuff. So that really helped with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we have time for one person to answer this last question, which comes from Sherry Stanger. She asks about whether you all think about the role you might play in your sibling's life in the future. So do you guys want to duke it out for who's going to answer, or should I just stick it to Alex because he was going first with the Q&A? How about you go, Alex?
Go, Alex.
So I guess like since I am the younger sibling, I'll probably be around to help hopefully take care of him when my parents and grandparents are not. But like, I hope that Adam will be able to function on his own, because there will be times when I won't be able to be there to like help him out and be his guardian. But I definitely think about like what's gonna happen when Adam's older and I'm older. So yeah, that's that.
We can maybe squeak out 2 quick responses from Jack and Caleb. Caleb, do you want to go first?
I personally don't really have an answer for this, so.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about this too much because she's still in high school and I'm still in middle school. So yeah, I haven't really thought about this too much either.
And that's okay.
Fair enough.
Before Susan winds it down, I just want to take a quick chance to say thank you to the 3 of you again. I know it took a lot of time to prepare your thoughts and to practice and show up tonight to wise us all up about the realities of being a sibling of an individual with charge. So for that, we will be eternally grateful to you. And you now have an enormous fan club of people that have listened to you and now know how incredible you guys all are. So thank you so much. And with that, Susan, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, I just was planning on saying almost the exact same thing Megan just said. You 3 guys were fantastic. Your comments are insightful. They were honest. They're very powerful. I can just imagine that you're going to be contacted by other people, and especially when the conference is live again in a couple of years, they're going to say, get those guys that did the webinar, get Jack, get Alex, get Caleb. We need them to do a session. We need them to run the SIB shops. We need them because, no joke, you might undersell what you did, but you shouldn't, because this is a really amazingly informative, honest, perceptive observations about you and your siblings. And we are very grateful. Those of us who have been involved with the webinar series, but the whole Charge Syndrome Foundation is grateful for what you've done. I will tell the audience that this will be archived on the Charge Syndrome Foundation website, which is the first link that you'll see on the resources here. All of our other webinars have been archived there as well. You need to give us a few days to get it up, but tell your friends who have kids with charge, who have siblings, that they need to listen to what Jack and Alex and Caleb have had to say. We need you to be aware of the State Family Liaison Program. If you as family members aren't aware of the liaison in your state, we don't have a liaison in every state, but almost. And there's a map on the CSF website. Check it out. If you see that your state doesn't have a liaison, please volunteer. We also want to remind you that the show must charge online. Next month, July 16th to 18th, registration is open. For a $50 registration fee, you may sign in with 2 different emails. Please, please, please sign in for sessions that will be informative, such as this one. I don't think there are going to be any sessions that are going to be any better than this one personally, but hopefully there will be some other ones that will be this good. The ERAP, the Recreation Assistance Program, accepts applications on a rolling basis. We have a relatively new program with the foundation, the Family Assistance Program, to assist with expenses for medical appointments, surgery, hospitalizations. That's on a rolling application. Always remember, charge it for charge. And you will be receiving a link through your email to please provide us with some evaluation comments about this session. We appreciate your positive praise in the chat box, but also we'd like to have it on the evaluation form. And I just, one last time, seriously, guys, you're going to say, you guys can't mean this because you keep saying it, but we really are grateful. Caleb will get you in just a second.
Okay.
Jack, Alex, Caleb, awesome job. We couldn't have asked for anything better. And we'll let Caleb's comment or question wind us up. What you got?
Did I tell you about my $500 speaking fee?
Too late now, man. It's after the fact, but you can remember that for the next ask you get. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I think he's a jokester as much as your brother Adam, Alex, from this kind of thing. You need to introduce them at the next conference. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you all. We surely appreciate your being with us this evening, and please send us the evaluation. Mrs. Lent, Joanne, thank you for running the behind the scenes. Megan, thank you for managing the chat. Thank you guys, you're super. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Joanne.
People are signing out, but I don't know if you guys were watching. People are still signing out, but the highest number I saw in terms of participants, I saw 39. Megan,
I saw 41.
You saw 41?
I saw like 43.
Yeah, I think I saw somewhere in the 40s too.
Awesome. So looky there. You guys, really, you were super. You were super. So, Joanne, any comments for these guys before we let them go too and get back to their lives? They've given us a lot of time in prep, in practice tonight.
Nope, you've all done great. Thank you so much for sharing your stories.
Yep, there's 85 comments in the chat, and from the number of questions that Megan read, there were probably 5 or 6 of those that were only questions. So I think that's high praise for all of you. So put it on your resumes, man. You have done a national presentation and you knocked it out of the park. Yeah, Caleb, what you got?
Never mind.
Jack, what do you want to say, man?
Actually, I think this was international. I saw people from different countries were tuning in.
Okay.
Well, at the beginning where it said like to say where you're from, I think I saw somebody from India and
there's someone from Canada.
Now, it's not uncommon we see Canada, but wow, I didn't know we had anybody from India.
Hopefully no.
I couldn't watch that. I was trying to make sure I didn't hold you guys up with your slides. So, okay, I stand corrected. All right. Montreal, Canada. We're just somebody's still here in Montreal, Canada. But so you have a resume item when Alex, a couple of years, going to be applying for colleges.
Yeah.
International presentation. Use it, man. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.